Well, hi, hello everyone, and welcome back to Crowley's Bookshop. Yes, I start with the intro. I am getting better at this. You would think that 4 years previously with the channel would teach me how to make a video. I never learn. Today's a very special video to my heart because I'm going to talk about my 10 favorite science fiction books. It is technically a top 10, but I'm not very good with tops in general, although I am one. I'm sorry, I'm being a bit cheeky right now because I'm a bit excited for this video. It's a video that I loved to make. I loved getting back to my bookshelves and really looking at the stories that really touched me in some ways, because this video, on top of being a top 10 of my favorite science fiction books, are the books that changed me the most as a person. And yes, other books obviously did a lot for me as well. I talked about a lot of different books already on my channel that are not featured in this top because, well, I can't talk about everything. Not everything can be in the top 10, but these books really did a lot for me personally and really changed a lot of my preconceived notions, or really put a lot into perspective for me. I learned a lot with these books, or they just really pleased me in some ways and I just can't stop thinking about them. And when I talk about science fiction, this is the ones that come to the top for me. I would be a little cheeky again and do a little disclaimer. If you are waiting for the usual Hyperion, whatever, I don't know what's the usual, but I know it's not these. If you're waiting for the usual, the Book of the New Sun, Hyperion, I don't know, these type of things, like maybe a Heinlein book, maybe a Dune, maybe like old-ish science fiction, maybe Foundation. If you're waiting for these kinds of books, they will not be in my top 10. Not to say they are not good. I love some of them and they are amongst my favorites, but they're not my favorites. So if you're waiting for the usual top 10 featuring Heinlein, Asimov, Herbert, and I don't know what else, like the very classic science fiction that you will see absolutely everywhere else, this is not the place. This is a place where I will talk about the ones that I loved, and maybe they're not going to be the one that you love normally or you see normally everywhere. And well, I do whatever the fuck I want. If this is not something that you like, well, I can't really do anything about this. Like, it's not really something I can do anything about. And that's it. So yeah, top 10, and we're going to start with the 10, the last one, but not the least, Annihilation by Jeff Vandermeer. Really the entirety of the Southern Reach saga, but of course I'm going to talk about the first one because the first is usually the best. It is not always the case, as we will see in this top, but the first is usually the best, and for me Annihilation is the best of the Southern Reach. That is not a trilogy anymore, that is a quadrilogy now, and I loved Absolution. I talked about it already, but this book was not the first book I've read from Jeff Vandermeer. It was Dead Astronaut, because I didn't read Born before Dead Astronaut. I didn't know why. I read Dead Astronaut first, and I love this book so much that I have a tattoo of it. I've already talked about it before, but Annihilation was something else for me. I discovered it very late. I think I want to say 2022. It was after I got this tattoo, so I want to say 2021 or 2022. It was quite late in my science fiction discovery. I was so into the story. It's one of the very rare saga where I read the first 3 back to back within a month because I was so into it. I loved these books so much and I was so into the story. It is weird science fiction. And not to say that is an insult, it is the name of the subgenre. It is weird science fiction. It uses unreliable characters. That is so interesting to me, and I try to do that in my stories as well. It is so difficult to do, but it's so great to do that. And it is basically a story where 4 women are going into an area that is being changed by something, and they are being changed along with the place, and we can't really rely on what the main character, the biologist, they don't have names, she's just the biologist, is telling us. Things are happening to them and they don't really know if it is like the other women or the place that is changing them. It is so interesting. It is so beautiful. It is, I won't say violent, but if you've seen the movie, kind of that. The movie is great as well. Not the same. Some things happening in the movie that is not happening in the books and vice versa. But oh my god, this is so powerful. This is so beautiful. It has a lot of impact on the way I write. So this is why it is in my top 10. And also it's just very, very great. And The covers are great as well. There are new covers that are being released with the new book. I think this month, I think in August. I have to check them out. They're so beautiful and I want them all. I think I'm going to get them, even though I already have them. But yeah, Annihilation, Jeff Vandermeer. Please go read some Jeff Vandermeer. He's one of my favorite authors ever. All of these are one of my favorite authors, but this is great and this deserves more recognition. The 9th book on my list is maybe going to surprise some. God, Emperor of Dune. Listen, I love Dune, alright? I can't act like so different and so quirky. I love Dune, of course I do. Dune is one of the best of science fiction. It just puts down so much of what the science fiction genre is. We can't not talk about Dune at all. But the 4th one, for me, is the best. And for a lot of people, it is the worst. I just love Leto II. I just love everything about this character. I just love everything about the pressure of being who he is and all the political discussions and implications and the golden path, and everything is so interesting to me, and it's one of the best idea of science fiction to this day, even more than the first book for me. This for me is better than the first book, and I'm continuously sad that I will never see Leto II on screen. I'm so sad about this because I know I will never see them. They will only do like the first book, maybe the second. The third one is already on thin fucking ice. But as I was saying, I'm so tired of Hollywood only doing like the first book, maybe the second. The third is not even a discussion, while this is the best of the best. And I want to see an animatronic of Leto so fucking bad. My cat is named Anakin, by the way, and I wanted to call him Leto before, but he's an Anakin, he's not a Leto. I will have a Leto one day for this book. But yeah, that's it for me, and please read Dune and go after the first book, because if you've only read the first book, you have not read the story. It is a very controversial opinion, I know, but the first book is not the entirety of the story, and the story is not about Paul. Paul is just a tool, he's just an instrument. Paul is not the story. Anyways, number 8 on my top 10, The Left Hand of Darkness by Ursula K. Le Guin. I am a bit sad to say that I don't have a lot of women in my top. I read lots of women writers because I love them, and I said before, I don't really care about the gender of the people who are writing, but even though lots of them made a lot of impression to me, they're not necessarily in the top 10 because the topics that are being talked about are not necessarily the one that like the closest to my heart, but it doesn't mean that I don't read women writers. And Ursula K. Le Guin is one of my favorite writers of all time. The Left Hand of Darkness really did a lot to me. I read this book when I was having troubles, let's say, in my life, and I was in a very dark place, and this, I think, helped me go out of a depression. And I'm not being silly when I say that. It was one of the things that helped me go away from me being at the lowest point in my life. And I'm being very sincere when I say that. I've not read it since because I can't put myself back to reading it. I was just so distraught when I read it because it is so beautiful, but I loved it so much. This is a story of two strangers coming from two different places with two very different backgrounds and biologies and, you know, cultures that are coming together for a very long journey. And so they are learning to be, you know, with each other's, and they are learning about each other's, and they are learning about the world around them and how big the world really is, basically outside of their very small preconceived notions. It is absolutely beautiful. The end really made me cry so much, but I love it so much. It's written a masterpiece on the cover, and yes, it is absolutely a masterpiece. And the introduction is by David Mitchell, the guy who wrote Cloud Atlas, and the introduction is very, very nice as well. If you haven't read any Ursula K. Le Guin, because she's a woman, please read Tea Break. Sitting at number 7, and I was a bit cheeky with this one, Seveneves by Neil Stephenson. Listen, Neil Stephenson for me is either a big hit, like Snow Crash, or this one, a big miss. But oh my god, this was glorious! It is a beautiful book about the end of humanity, basically. So what's happening is, the moon is falling down, and the entirety of humanity won't be able to survive it, because obviously you're going to take a big fucking rock on your head, so you're going to not be well afterwards. And well, some people have been chosen to escape Earth and to rebuild society into space. The name kind of gives something about what is happening. I won't go too far because spoilers are coming very, very fucking fast with this book, but it was such a lesson on the human mind and the human psyche and how people react when bad things are happening. There is a lot in this book that I absolutely love, and it's gorgeous, gorgeous, gorgeous book. Love this. Yeah, you should read that. It's great. I should put them in the other side so that I can see them, really. Can you see them here a bit? Kind of. Better with two hands. Yeah, you can see them. Great, fantastic. Look at this little pie. It's very colorful, right? It's beautiful. I love this. It's very colorful. It's very nice. Okay, then we have Use of Weapons, Iron and Banks. Listen, I love the Culture Saga. I love all 12 books. I love Banks so much because he has such a beautiful view on what a spacefaring civilization can be and implications they can have on other cultures. I try to do that with my own stories as well. I have a story that is a spacefaring civilization, and I'm trying to, like, this really is a big inspiration. Like, the Culture Saga is a huge inspiration for me as a writer, and this one is the best for me. It is the third book of the saga, a story about a war and how wars can change people and how horrible things in your life can change you completely and make you the worst person imaginable. It's a beautiful book about darkness and how it can change you. It's gorgeous, it's beautiful, and it's written in a non-linear way, and I don't see that very often, right? So sometimes it's a bit difficult to know where you are. It made me feel so much things. And I took a long time to read this. It's not a very long book. It's like 400 pages tops. So it's not a very long book, but it took me a long time to go through it because I had to pause and reflect on what I was reading because it made me feel a lot of very conflicted emotions. I was both blown away by how beautifully and incredibly it was written. It felt like something that the author went through. And also it was so cruel and so horrible. And I felt all types of ways the best of the Cultural Saga. You don't have to read all 12 of them. Also, you should, because they are talking about vastly different subjects, but you don't have to read them in order, is what I'm saying, because they're all disconnected from each other. It is within the same universe, but not in the same, like, in order. But this is the best one, in my opinion. In my humble opinion, of course, and of course I'm always right. Then we have a favorite of the r/Prince science fiction on Reddit, Blindsight by Peter Watts. Listen, everyone is talking about this book, and there is a reason for it. This book is a beautiful way to talk about humanity versus minds, like other minds. And that's why I love Adrian Tchaikovsky so much. For example, I talked about this before, but this book is a beautiful way to show how empathy and humanity, the way we see the world, is not necessarily the way that everyone and everything will see the world, and will see the world with big W, like the universe. It's so gorgeous. It's beautiful, and oh my god, it's so fucking cruel and dark and bleak and everything in between. It is a horrible book, really, to read, but it is such a gorgeous book. It is difficult to talk about this book because there is so much happening. An alien object is surrounding Earth, and we are sending people there to see what's happening. And the people already are not the greatest, not the fittest of minds. Like, they are very twisted minds already, because you have to be twisted to be able to go meet an alien mind. And the alien mind is so very different from us, intricate and so complex and so different. And I know that it is the point of being an author, right? Is to be able to find something different than us. But oh my god, this is a lot. But it's oh yeah, I love it so much. I want to read it again because I want to read all of them again. I think it would be a challenge on the channel to read all of these again and to give my opinion. Maybe it changed, but I don't think it will change. These books took so much from me and gave me so much that, yeah, I don't think my opinion is going to change much. We're going with something a bit more light. Not really, in fact, but The Expanse. And I'm showing the first one, the Leviathan Wakes, because it's the first one. I don't really have an opinion on which one is the best of the 9 books, but it is the best way to introduce the saga. And yeah, it's probably the best, I guess. It's the one that explains everything and does a very great work of world building. This is why I love this book so much. It is the world building. The characters are great. It is a very characters focused and characters driven book, but the world building is so well done. And again, I think it is a very difficult thing to do in science fiction when you have so many ideas of the world is like this and it's different from us because it is like this. And so you want to give it everything from the get-go, and you want to make sure people understand you, and you want to make sure that people have the full picture. But then it gets a bit artificial when you do that, because it is really like show don't tell, where this one is very tell don't show. You discover things slowly with the story as the story goes. So you discover how the world is going as the story is going. And if you've seen the show, you understand what I mean. It is a beautiful book. And I love this one so much because it's very action focused as well. So you have both action and characters and the world building, and also like an alien man who is coming to eat us all because it's like space goo, which is basically changing everything around you. I love body stuff. I love the idea of bodies and minds being melted. I say this in a very sexual way. It's not my intention, but I love the idea of, you know, someone changing you and who you are as a person. Like the ever changing mind and body is so interesting to me. It's so deeply interesting to me, and this is basically it. And I love it. It's great. And if you've seen the show and you tell yourself, oh, I don't need to read the books because I've seen the show. Read the fucking books. It is so much better. I love the show. It's one of my favorite shows with Star Trek Next Generation, but it's so much better. It's so much better, but the show did a very good job in both like the characters, like the actors, phenomenal, the sceneries and the CGIs and everything, but you always miss a bit, like you always lack something from the adaptation, which is normal, but you will always lack something, in my opinion, of course. Tea break before the top 3, and the top 3 is going to be a big piece because, of course, they are the best. So I have the Star Trek mug, and my lemon juice water is a Doctor Who glass. Yeah. Okay, sitting at the third on the top 3. I don't know what I'm saying. The top 3 is Revelation Space, Alastair Reynolds, because of course I'm going to put Alastair Reynolds somewhere in this top. I think people who know me will be like, like 3 authors are missing. Yes, they're here. The 3 authors that are missing are here. So Revelation Space. What can I say about Revelation Space? Dead civilization coming back to wipe us all. That's it. I love the concept of dead civilizations. I love the concept of dead civs so much. And I love the concepts of humanity being separated into different factions, let's say, that still interact with each other, but who have very different views on politics and biology and what being humans really means, to the point where they physically separate from each other. It is such a beautiful concept. It is a very interesting book. It is a quadrilogy, and it's mind-blowing. It's mind-blowing. Also, I want a spacecraft like the one in the book because it's so great. Yeah, it's beautiful space opera. I love space opera. It's my favorite subgenre in science fiction. I think it shows in my list. I can't really say a lot about this book. It is also very characters driven, but again, the world building is fascinating. It's very fascinating, and yeah, I love everything about this book. I love all the little snippets. Alastair Reynolds did a lot of books within the same universe, but not with the same characters and not in the same spaces. And I love the little snippets from the other books, like the Melding Plague, for example. It is a plague that is melting the nanobots and the nano things in the computers with people, with biological matter. It sounds a bit disgusting, and it is, but it's great. I love it. I love all the little snippets from the rest of his writing. He's just an awesome writer. He is really able to make the darkest of characters understandable. Very interesting the way he is able to write shades of grays and shades of darkness in a strangely hopeful way, even if we are going to die. It's very interesting, I think, in my opinion. Number 2, we have Space by Stephen Baxter. It is part of a quadrilogy called The Manifold. They don't follow each other, so you don't have to go through time at the first one to go to this, but this is the best. It is about an astronaut who is going at the far edge of the solar system, and he founds an artifact left by a alien civilization, a dead civilization, and he's going through space to see if we are truly alone or not. Same thing. I took so long to read this book because it is gut-wrenching and it's so beautiful. I remember like crying a lot during this book because it was so like the concepts within this book are so much to take in. Stephen Baxter is working at the ESA, the European Space Agency, so he has a lot of very interesting concepts when it comes to physics and space in general. He's not very character driven. His characters are tools to be used to go through the story. Oh wow. This book is a lot and I literally have chills just talking about it, but it's gorgeous. I just love this book so much. We don't talk about this book nearly as much as we should because it is absolutely gorgeous, and yeah, the cover is also very fucking cool, right? Beautiful covers are important, alright? I picked a lot of books that I loved because the covers were really pretty. And then we have top 1. Everyone who knows me knows what I'm going to talk about. Children of Time by Adrian Tchaikovsky. Of course! Can I have a round of applause for Adrian and his mind and his beautiful, beautiful brain? What is it talking about? Children of Time is about humans going away from Earth because the Earth is a garbage place. It's a junkyard. And they're going back to where previous human civilizations have seeded different planets. Like they have seeded planets to make them Earth-like. So because the Earth is not fit to be lived on anymore, they are going away on these planets. And on one of these planets, there are intelligent spiders. Yes, intelligent spiders that are like basically the size of a basketball. So if you are arachnophobic, please don't read this book. I don't want any of your mental health issues on me. There are a civilization of intelligent spiders, and they are, like we are shown, how these intelligent spiders are going through life. And we are shown how humanity going through their last breath is doing. Spoilers, not well. It's brilliant. I can't really say anything other than the way Adrian is able to weave minds. I don't even know how to say it. I think the best way I can say it is Adrian is a master in alien minds and how others with a big O are working. Not to say that his characters, like his main characters, are not great, but his main characters are oftentimes the less interesting part of his books. I'm just saying a lot because they are very fucking interesting. But he's very able to make a very compelling case for empathy, even with big fucking spiders. And that's saying a lot. It's a book that taught me a lot about empathy and about survival and what you need to do in order to protect yourself while remaining true to yourself and while remaining kind and good as a person, and what it truly means to be good. It's not necessarily what we think it is. And yeah, it's very powerful of a story. They all are, really. I said it was very difficult for me to make a top 10. The top 3 it was a no-brainer, really. I want to say no, the top 10 was not really difficult. I tried to do a top 20, and oh my god, it got very difficult very quick. Top 10 is a no-brainer, really, because it's just books that really stayed with me for a very long time. I know that people are going to say that these are mostly new-ish books and I should read the science fiction classics. Thank you, I did. You can see them behind me for some. I did, and some of my top 20/top 50 are old-ish books, like Last and First Men by Olaf Stapledon, or some of the Asimov books, like the I, Robot book, for example, is one of my favorites as well. But the top 10 is more than just, oh, it's a classic, so it's good, so I have to put it in my top 10. This is not the way I think. These stories taught me so much and helped me through so much darkness and so much lack in so many ways. And these books taught me a lot about others and empathy and what it means to be human and what humanity truly is and what it is capable of, that I don't really see in a lot of other books. You know what I mean? It's very powerful themes, very compelling, and it's themes that we should talk about more when we have science fiction, when we talk about science fiction. Sure, I love me Heinlein, I love me some Asimov, but the big picture sometimes is a bit muddled in the rest. These are the books that we should talk about more, in my opinion, nowadays, because they are able to teach us a lot about others. And I think that's the most important thing we need right now. So yeah, this is my top 10. Thank you very much for listening to me and for watching this video. I hope you liked it. Please don't leave comments like, oh my god, you didn't talk about this, you didn't talk about that. No, I didn't. For a reason. I didn't talk about Hyperion for a reason. I didn't talk about the moon is a harsh mistress for a reason, because it is very fucking difficult to say. No, but for real, if I didn't talk about the book, it's not because I have forgotten it or I didn't read it. Most likely, I have read it. It is just that it didn't stay with me as much as these did. So don't go and be like, oh my god, I didn't talk about this, blah blah blah. I don't care. I won't read the comments, and they will be not deleted, but they will be pinned as like the pin of shame, probably. That's it for me, guys. I hope you like this video. If you'd like, please follow me on social media, where we'll be talking about the books I'm reading at the moment, and the clothes that I'm wearing, and the music I'm listening to, and blah 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 blah. You know the drill, and I will see you guys later. Can I get a wahoo?